More than any other species, humans make and use things. And we call the process of making these things production. We also share and sell and trade the things we make, and we call this process distribution. Now, both production and distribution have become increasingly complex over time, and the ways that humans and their communities have produced and distributed goods and services have changed over history. Developing a big picture of major changes in the way that we produce and distribute goods and services should help you as you begin your study of the human past. It'll give you a frame or a perspective to help you fit the pieces of human history together. Then, when you encounter significant events or processes in the different units of the course, this story should help you to locate them in the larger flow of human history. We're also going to look closely at specific events and people to see how well they fit into our big picture. Sometimes those individual pieces won't quite fit. In those cases, we're going to modify the picture to create a better understanding of the ways that our systems of production and distribution have changed over time. So what is a big picture that shows how our systems have changed? Well, we begin the story of production and distribution in this course in Unit 2, 800 years ago. In 1200, most people were farmers, herders, or other food producers. Some were artisans who had specialized skills needed to make goods that they could sell at market. Others were merchants who bought and sold goods and food. A few were the elites who owned land on which others worked. From 1200 to 1450, new regional systems of distribution evolved to make and to trade goods created in one place to other places. These systems were often along routes that covered great distances, requiring many steps and lots of participants. By the end of Unit 2, two great regional systems of distribution had emerged, one in the Americas and the other connecting much of Africa, Europe, and Asia. Then at the start of Unit 3, we're going to see how these two systems were connected in the Columbian Exchange, launching the first global age. This exchange sent new species of plants and animals to new parts of the world, forever reshaping patterns of food production. Another aspect of the exchange was the beginning of the Transatlantic slave trade, in which Europeans enslaved 12 million Africans and forced them to work in European colonies in the Americas. This system of enslavement and plantations allowed Europeans to use the natural resources of the Americas to produce new trade goods and power their empires. Despite these changes in production and the growth in distribution networks, the way that people created goods up until 1750 was pretty similar to the methods people had been using for thousands of years. People learned to make things better, but only bit by bit and without many major changes. They still depended on biology and the environment to provide the energy needed to produce and distribute goods and services. But then about 250 years ago, that suddenly changed. In Unit 5, you're going to explore how human use of fossil fuels created an energy bonanza that helped launch the Industrial Revolution. This revolution fundamentally transformed the amount of work that could be done, who did it, and where it was done. Work shifted from farms in the country to factories in cities, and from goods produced directly by human or animal labor to goods produced by machines. Fossil fuels also helped transform our systems of distribution by creating vast global networks for goods. Political communities called empires helped drive this new global industrial system. Industrialization provided empires with the means and the motivations to expand their empires to new places. Colonizers took raw materials from their colonies and shipped them home to be turned into consumer goods in factories before shipping those goods back to the colonies to be sold for profit. Over the last 100 years or so, a period you're going to investigate in Unit 9, the changes prompted by industrialization have transformed the types of work people do. They've also revolutionized our ability to produce large amounts of goods, including the food we eat. As a result, we have more things than our ancestors did, many more. In the last century, industrialization has allowed the global population to skyrocket from fewer than 2 billion people in 1900 to almost 8 billion today. Producing food and goods for a growing world is one of the great challenges our species faces in the coming century. Now, the big story I just told covered 8 centuries and will continue into the future. And I told it in just a few minutes. This story framed major changes in the way we produced and distributed all the goods and services we use. But how might you use this big picture? Can it help you to locate individual events in time? Does it offer you a way to think about trends across time, or to assess the strengths and weaknesses of our current system of production and our global system of distribution? Are we better or worse off than our ancestors who produced their own food and goods 800 years ago? Can we say we've made progress? And what was the cost of all this innovation in production and distribution? These questions and others about production and distribution can help us to make sense of the global past.